being creative and innovative and then delivering great service. And none of those are a secret. So we thought, why don't we share some of the best insights? Right, cool. So, hi there. My name is G, the founder of The Idea.
And this is Zul, the general manager of The Idea.
And today we're doing our first Muck Up Report. Muck Up meaning another word that rhymes with uck that we can't use. And leaning into our values, we thought, hey, let's share insights that we gained from the lessons that we had from this year. You know, and for me, one of the biggest ones was to lean into my values more, because there were moments in the year that I didn't. And then that had me thinking about this, like, you know, we don't have special IP or a secret recipe. Our secret recipe is like empathy and courage and empathy and, you know, being creative and innovative and then delivering great service. And none of those are a secret. So we thought, why don't we share some of the best insights from our lessons learned discussion, which Zoo and I are actually having right now for the first time, and going from there. So we don't know. So just a disclaimer, we don't know what's going to happen from this conversation, but we do hope that it's of value. Anything to add there, Zoo?
You cover pretty much everything, and I'm excited to get started.
Right. So we just asked for the benefit of the doubt. All right. So in case anything comes off that we're not sure about, then, you know, you can message us if you're offended or if there are any issues. Would you like to start first?
No, I prefer you to start first.
Okay, I'll start first. All right. Well, when I was thinking about the muck-ups from this year, there were actually muck-ups from previous years that kind of overflowed into this year, where I was thinking about all these projects that I was on. So essentially, I was thinking, oh man, like I'm so tired and I made all these mistakes because I'm spread too thin. So people like me, entrepreneurs who are like starting stuff all the time, and a lot of opportunities come because people, you know, see you at different places and they go, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I said yes way too much. You know, so I think that in your 20s, you say yes to everything. And in your 30s, you learn to prioritize a bit more. And I'm very much in that process. And I coming back to New Zealand now, and looking through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different projects that I started from July to now, it racked up nearly 200 hours of, I wouldn't say non-productive. Like I learned a lot of things, but there weren't many results that came from this time. And that right now it feels very much like a muck up. But looking further, I saw that there were projects that I started even back in Cambodia that I didn't either complete a process or a system that I should have. And that led to, you know, a lot of the, not time wastage, or a lot of stress that I had. And there could have been much more success if my attention was not deviated from a core mission, you know. So I think that's probably the biggest one, was that I was spread too thin. I started all this stuff earlier, which I could have done better by having a better filter system and saying, you know what, actually I won't do that, because unless it's a F yeah, then it's a hell no. So that would be probably my first insight from the muck-ups that I've had this year.
I see. So what you hope to change moving on?
Right. So that filter, actually. So I've got a, I wouldn't even say a filter anymore, because I've gone past that. And now I've really been thinking about the core strategy that we have to do at The Idea, but also that I have to do as a professional. And anything that's not even near this is a no. Even if it's close and it's not overlapping, or that doesn't make much sense, does it? I'm saying anything that is not related to that mission is scrapped. Like I will just say no to it, and this is what I need to do. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing to change, is say no more. And that's being reflected in my resolutions at the moment, is my personal resolutions. A lot more focus. It's a good question.
Thank you. So just say no, stick to the mission, stick to the value.
Yeah, prioritize better. Follow on with my next insight was that I didn't trust the process enough. So I preach to all of the interns that we get, and to the students and the clients that I have, to trust the processes, and follow certain practices. And one of these was work planning. And this is consulting 101 or project management 101, is that you work plan every single project that comes to your table. And for some reason in July, I didn't do this. So I have a 5-year journal, this thing, and I was looking through my day by day in my journal to reflect on what I want to change or what I could be doing better. And I realized that there was a cutoff in July where I stopped doing a lot of great practices, and I ended up, honestly, in my opinion, like wasting a lot of time. So there were 4 different products that I was supposed to come out with for Leading with Empathy, and now they're like 2 quarters late because I didn't work plan appropriately. I said yes to all these things. I worked out in my mind that this should take this much time, and the rough estimates will never replace actual calculations. And so about 2 weeks ago, I sat down, work planned everything, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually going to take this amount of hours. The buffers look like that, and now that moves my deadline to over here. And that meant I didn't meet my 2023 goal, was because I didn't work plan properly. I didn't add in the buffers, provisionary time for if there's an interruption or distractions or whatever it is that happens, or if something doesn't happen my way that I think it would, so there are processes which I know that I should be following that I didn't. And for this coming year, I will certainly be following those processes much, much more.
Are you willing to share your good practice with the public, with everyone?
Yeah. Well, good practices like work planning, for example. So whenever a project comes, I obviously think about it first. And I literally put my hand on my heart to try and get a feel of how I feel about it. Because when your intuition comes up, it is a manifestation of all the experience that you've got, all the body language that you're getting from that other person. So everything that's happening in the present and in the past comes out, anything that's related to it. And because there's so many thoughts and experiences that come through, it manifests as a feeling, right? Just because so many things are going on, and you got to slow down a little bit to figure out what those feelings are, and then what is making you feel those things, and go, oh, right, well, this is what I know about this topic. Should I take on the project knowing what I know? Should I trust this person with this deal or whatever? And that's probably the most important step, is figuring that out first, like working around what I know. And then if I agree or disagree, I still have a work plan. So if I disagree and I don't want to work with that person, but I want to have still a good relationship with them, I still will figure out like, hey, well, what do I need to do to come back or follow up on that relationship, even though I said no to working with that person. And obviously, if I've said yes, I sit down and I work out what the outcome is supposed to be, and what you call backcasting, which is a kind of like design thinking process. So instead of forecasting, you're trying to figure out what's going to happen from the front. Backcasting is where you are right at the outcome or output, and then you go backwards and go, if I needed to run a 100-kilometer run, then what is the step before? And I was like, step before is, well, having practiced a 99-kilometer run or something like this, right? Or having done a full 100-kilometer practice run or something like that, and then working back, like, what do I need to do there? And then backcast, and that helps me work plan significantly better, and also work out all the hours and everything needed. That's actually a good process to work out even before you say yes or no, because it really means you've worked out, like, you have a much better, not excuse, but reason to decline or reasons to say yes.
I think most of the time, work planning is just working backward from the goal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment, is those two things. So fixing the muck-ups from previous years, saying no more often, or getting a feel more often, and work planning more. So that's where I am with the muck-ups.
They were really great insight. I think for not just you, like the founder or maybe a general manager, but generally for everyone too, because you don't just work plan the work, you can work plan your life, your goals, and everything, and also please prioritize yourself, your goal, your value, like dig into your value.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the third one on the list. But I'll let you go first. I'll let you go next. I mean,
I believe my markup would be spending more time trying to catch up and getting to understand more about the team. Basically, having individual catch up or alignment, could be weekly, could be bi-weekly. I mean, once per 2 weeks. So that could help everyone align, feel more connected, and leading to like performing much better, more efficient, and more effective. And I believe that personally, I'm not in this position before as like a general manager of the company, and then it took a lot of change and a lot of drive in order to be where I am. And I would say I did a pretty good job overall. I believe that especially if you're at this small amount of people, number of people, you should have more alignment. But even though you are like a big corporate, a big company, you can still have alignment from the hierarchy, right? From top to down, so get more feel of everyone. And that will...
I was just going to say, just to reiterate your point, they say that 90% of a CEO's job is communication. So they're just constantly communicating to their teams and to their stakeholders.
So yeah, that is my markup, is to have a better communication, have more consistent catch-up alignment.
So what happened because you didn't have those alignments?
I think it's everyone kind of be distant. And for me personally, this is on me as well. I work from home most of the time. I only go out to meetings, so people kind of distant. We kind of disalign a lot, and it became a habit for everyone to just communicate when convenient, I would say. So communicate through Telegram, not really face to face, and not really like talk, just like right now.
And what did that lead to?
That would lead into a lot of, I would say, missing the real ball. That's like the worst thing ever. And also, not enough team spirit. Paul would change in the environment, basically, right? We are very adaptable, and because everyone kind of distant, so missing the real ball is something that expected. But then when we are together, we feel the team spirit, we feel everyone moving, and then we start moving. For like example, when we're doing Slapria, everyone's just on the same spot, and we see everyone doing work. We're trying to do the work as well, and we actually lead 100 volunteers to do each task. Very, I would say, successful. So
that's good. I like that reflection, because for me, this was a big learning to have as well when I was in your shoes, actually, like not that long ago. When you're not together or aligned, the ship is not moving, people rowing separately. And for me, the feeling that we're not a team was demoralizing, and it slowed productivity. So not only maybe they were working not 100% aligned to the strategy, maybe 80%, but they were also working slower. So maybe they were only working 50% productively towards the company strategy or towards the deliverables that we needed. I think that's a great insight to learn while you're young. To learn now. A lot of people don't figure that out. They don't talk to their teams enough. We see this very often, actually. So it's very good that you picked that up. I'll share my last one. And that was to lean into our values more. And specifically for Slapria, there were many moments where we did lean into our values, like making the composting happen, even though dealing without putting anybody under the bus. Certain partners that threw away the food waste. Oh yeah, that whole opportunity was just lost. But we'll do it for the next one. But that felt good. Lots of those things felt good. What didn't feel good was getting a partner that didn't live, without saying their names again, without leaning into the values that we lean into, like let's say on sustainability. which generated a lot of waste. And that was a very, very difficult decision for me. I don't think I made a good decision. I made a decision of necessity because we needed the cash flow. So we took what we needed. Looking back, I think maybe if I leaned into that value for the May Slapria, like, because by December it was a bit too late and I had to make a really tough decision. But maybe 2 Slaprias ago, where we had 75,000 people and then nearly 200,000 people, like, well, over 150,000 people, if I had designed those values into the ones earlier and had the courage to just tell you guys, no, we're going to do this. Like, we have to lean into the values. This is what that looks like. And this is how we organize it for a community that doesn't care about the environment as much as we do, but they want to come to the festival because it's commercially successful, but not necessarily environmentally aligned with what we're trying to achieve. Like the community, whether it's the vendors or the fans, don't share the same motivation as us. We have to design around them, right? And that's what we're supposed to be good at, is being creative and innovative and designing around those behaviors and shifting those behaviors little by little or by a lot, by changing a system. So our system at Slapria could have been changed December last year had I been not spread so thin, doing all these other projects. And if I only worked on Slapria together with you guys and not like all of our client projects when we're still doing agency work or all of these other companies that I was running, I think it would have gotten there faster. Like, instead of G pouring his cup into 10 different cups, I poured it into one cup. I let the cup overfill. It would spread more. I think there would have been more goodness that would have come from that. So I think I'm still learning to lean into my values more. I know it takes courage and it takes better work planning, and that's sort of the focus. So leaning into the values more, and this coming projects in 2024, I'll make sure to have more of those values in those projects. Should be able to see it manifested.
So I believe that all your 3 mock-up are really connected.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first one is Select to Win. The reason they are Select to Win because you're not leaning into your value more, kind of say yes to everything and then not working. Overall, it's a really, really great insight, I would say. So because everything is connected. For me, my next mock-up, I'm not sure if it's that connected to my previous one, the first one. I want to try a lot of new thing or uncertain thing. We would have performed better. So a lot of uncertainty as in like a new space, much bigger number of vendor at Slapria. New space meaning like the pathway is too big for vendor to get attraction from festival goer. So in May we're doing only 3 meter pathway, but it's kind of too small. People are too crowded and just people everywhere and it's kind of risky. So we thinking to extend it 2 times into a 6 meter, but 6 meter is kind of too wide and it look and it feel less festival vibe, if you understand what I'm saying. Not people are still showing up, just not as crowded as before. That's a good thing. We did like with festival goer, they feel more comfortable walking, but it's not good for vendor to sell.
Yeah, that's so interesting because that was the feedback I got too, actually, from some of the friends, and they said, "Oh, it's so much nicer to walk this time, but it's so huge that you got so tired walking from one side to the other."
Yeah, so that's one thing, but I believe that run try and error. It's good for the company. It's good for us as a social experiment, but it's not good for all the stakeholders.
Yeah, we won't be doing that again. That was the comment.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that we did it for safety reasons. That was the number one reason, because we were at fear of stampede, because we were by far the biggest, other than the SEA Games. We were the next biggest event in the country. And when you look at the photos and videos, it is so crowded. And so we said, oh, we need to like double the walkway. We need to double the floor plan space. We need to double this. But in the end, that's not what people wanted. And also the market changed. The market changed completely. So from May to December, we went from being the biggest to still, I guess, the biggest for that weekend, but nowhere near as much. We went from almost 200,000 to 80,000 people, and that's less than half. So we prepared for 200K, but got 80,000 people. So this was that was a Muck Up. But we have now learned to we're from one extreme to the other, and now for the next one we know where we are in the middle, plus leaning into values. So there's going to be a lot of redesign in that event, which I'm very excited about. So what will you take with you into the next year?
There's a lot of things for me to take into. So for example, with Sapria, we're gonna design a new layout, a more vendor selling layout. So vendor have at least 2 ways to sell, and we're not gonna spread too wide this time with the space, the pathway, and we're not gonna design very long festival anymore. So it's gonna be shorter, and it's gonna be one main entrance, but people can go out everywhere, basically in Olympic Stadium. And that's also the key for not having the stampede and stuff like that even in May, because people can go out every spot. So we're gonna still stick to that safety precaution. But mainly we're gonna have just one main entrance, have the stake at the back, so people can just walk from the front to the back and back to the front. And I believe that would perform better, and we're gonna have more interesting performance on the ground, on stage, and just a lot more activity. And also the vendors not gonna be as many as the previous one, so that we can have more connection with the vendor, or I could say that we're gonna have a better selection of vendor.
Leaning into those values, I really like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. No, for me, it's bringing the elements of sustainability, which I'm about to have in a meeting with you right after this, is sharing how exactly we're going to do that. So that was another mock-up. Was not capturing enough data, and I know that you weren't able to capture the emission stuff, but for the next ones we will start measuring what the actual impact is from running a festival, because we want to be positive for the environment, positive for the community. So we did an exercise to think about what does that mean to be a regenerative festival or regenerative business for Sapria. So stay tuned, I guess, for the next one that's happening end of March. In the meantime, those are the mock-ups that we had, the main mock-ups. There were heaps of mock-ups this year. After some thinking, sort of the core ones that we wanted to share, well, separately, because we actually hadn't discussed this prior to right now. So yeah, well, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in 2024.
Thank you.